Well, Australian professor Sean Turnell has touched down in Melbourne after nearly 2 years behind bars in a Myanmar prison. Let's go live to Trudy McIntosh. Trudy, it's been such an ordeal, so much work behind the scenes, such relief that it's actually happened. Talk us through the reaction so far.
Yeah, finally for his family and friends, Tom, Sean Turnell back on Australian soil. We can show you these aerial pictures that have been coming out of Melbourne Airport in the last hour as this plane from Bangkok into Melbourne landed here. He's arrived on home soil and we wait to see whether he will make any statement for the awaiting media who've been there. He's been through a massive ordeal in Myanmar, 650 days locked away behind bars. He was working as an advisor for the then leader, Aung San Suu Kyi, when she was ousted in a military coup in 2021, and then he was thrown behind bars as a part of that process. We've also got a statement in from his wife. She is understandably elated to finally see her husband home. She says, "I'm overwhelmed with joy at the news that my beloved husband Sean is coming home. After nearly 22 months apart, our priority right now is to spend time together as a family." There has been a concerted diplomatic push by successive Australian governments to get Professor Turnell back out of prison and on home soil. We've seen this from the former Foreign Minister Marise Payne, now the current Foreign Minister Penny Wong, making it clear that this was her #1 priority in the relationship with Myanmar, to try and see if she could get the Australian economist released. We saw this late yesterday, confirmation that Sean Turnell was part of thousands released on National Victory Day in that country and allowed to leave. So welcome news certainly from the Australian side here. He's spoken to both the Prime Minister and the Foreign Minister on a phone call whilst he was on the ground in Bangkok before getting on this latest flight. Here was Penny Wong this morning reflecting on her conversation. She says he was in good spirits.
He told me the same story he told the Prime Minister about the tote bags delivering food from the embassy in Yangon, and that he put the coat of arms up on the cell, in fact the front of the cell, and he said, you know, don't mess with the emu and the kangaroo.
And of course we shouldn't forget that there are thousands of others still unfairly detained in Myanmar, and that there is enormous abuse of human rights and oppression of individuals across Myanmar, as well as the suppression of democracy in Myanmar occurring. And so we need to maintain a very strong and consistent stance in relation to those matters.
For Sean Turnell's family and friends, it has been 650 days of uncertainty and certainly worry about his condition. We've seen one of his friends, a fellow economist, Tim Harcourt, on Sky News this morning, reflecting on how he believes his friend was actually able to make it through this pretty big ordeal.
Sean's a little guy and he would have lost weight, but Sean is mentally tough, Peter. I mean, he made friends with all the prison guards and all the people he in the court system in Myanmar. Talked about history of Myanmar and Keynes and his love for Hamilton, Alexander Hamilton. And so I think his mental toughness has been the reason why he's here today, despite, you know, physically, obviously he's had a hard time.
Prime Minister Albanese shared a small anecdote from his conversation with Professor Turnell overnight. He said that Sean had apologised because he lives in the electorate of Grayndler, Anthony Albanese's electorate, and he didn't vote because he was locked up behind bars. But the Prime Minister made a joke of this, Tom, saying he's not going to find him when he gets back in the country. Been a massive ordeal to be back here on Australian soil. Must be a pretty surreal moment for him.
Yes. So glad it's happened. So many people are. So that's the good outcome, of course, as pointed out, more people in Myanmar and Australians in China as well. So always looking to the next hope. Trudy, thank you.